Well, welcome back, everyone. This is a wonderful interview going with my newfound friend, Seth Stewart. He's living his life like he talks about living his life. He actually walks the walk as well as talks the talk. He's had a remarkable experience. Started off in his mid-20s, as you've been listening to this show, and here he is, a young man in his early 40s who's talking about helping you find your way. Tell us about how you coach people and how you get them to find their inner way. Mostly men, I understand, is as you help along the way from uncertainty and stress. I got to be a man, and what is a man like, and all those things, to getting to this. I'm going to call it serenity within. That confidence of being who you are. How do you do that?
Yeah.
What kind of coaching do you offer?
The kind of coaching I offer is guidance. I trained for many years over the past, secretly over the past 8 years, 9 years. I was learning from different people on healing. I believed what Yeshua said, that we can help others heal. So I was actually working with people, helping them remove things, removing. As weird as this might sound to your audience, maybe they're probably already attuned to this, but I've been able to see, angels and demons, and I wanted to learn how to cast them away, the demons at least. I found implants in people, and so I really worked on that, and I had clients for a while, but I realized people needed more guidance than they needed the healing, and I needed to lead them to their own personal healing. So what I coach people on is I kind of look at their overall life, and I have, from having studied this and worked on this, it was a full-time job for about 7 years. I was working on this. I can naturally see what's going on in their field, in their spiritual field, whether it's past life instances or their ancestors telling me, or their higher self telling me what's going on. So I hear their physical story, I see their spiritual story, and I kind of can tie in what they really need at that moment. And then I just guide them, giving them tools, saying, here's some sacred questions. Here's how you energetically shield yourself. Here's a healing sphere that you can put on. And a lot of it is imagination, but I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that if we empower prayer and we empower our imagination, in the quantum, in the spiritual, it actually does transition into the physical, because one of the biggest things I've learned is what's happening here physically is also happening in the spiritual realms. So if I can teach people, and which is what I do, I teach people tool sets and things that they can always have, so they're not dependent on me. I don't want people dependent. You shouldn't be dependent on your doctor. You shouldn't be dependent on your healer. You shouldn't be dependent on your spiritual guide, because I was taught, go talk to the trees. So I give tool sets that I've gathered over the last, you know, heavily over the last 8 years, and I share them with my clients so that they have tool sets to work with. I look at it, I'm going to give you a hammer, a screwdriver, a saw, and a drill. I'm going to give you at least some tools that you will always have in your spiritual toolkit. And then in the past 4 years, I prayed to God. I said, where do you really need me? And he said, I need you to help the men. And so men are going through major isolation right now. And we need men to step up on this planet, because God has called the true kings to this planet. They're going to enter the matrix. They're going to enter the false matrix of illusion. And men are going to come back on this planet, and they are going to code lead with women. Women are going to be at the table more in governments. It's going to happen. It's going to take some time. So my focus was to help men who are going through their dark night of the soul, breaking through their ego, to give them tool sets to say, okay, don't give up your day job. Here's some tools that you can change your industry. Here's some tools that you can have a healthier partnership with your wife or your girlfriend. Here's some tools that you can help your community. I tell people, you don't have to run away to become some spiritual guru. Maybe stay where you are, gather some spiritual tools and guidance and healing, and you affect people where you are, because that's the biggest thing. If we can affect people in our industries, we change the industries from the inside out.
Well, naturally, I mean, we need electricians, we need carpenters, we need people
Yes.
to do all the things we need to sustain ourselves. We need farmers, etc. But, make a living with your hands, but keep the spiritual within. And again, this time of change, as you alluded to, yeah, I think you're, as above, as below. It's time for us to get a new nudge from the cosmos and say, okay, hey there, Metatron, Chief Angel, and Sergeant Major. Look, we have a little problem down there. Send the boys down and fix it.
And that's it. I mean, if we can we go there real quick on that
It's
subject?
your interview. Go where you want.
The angels are watching us. I mean, both sides are watching, but we're being viewed
Let's stop it right there. Both sides. What does that mean? People are
both
going to.
sides. I believe light is a spectrum. I don't think darkness on a light spectrum is necessarily bad, but there is good and evil. There is good and evil. If somebody goes through their darkness, it doesn't necessarily mean it's you're going through your evil. It just means you're going through a shadow time, a learning time. You can't learn without the darkness. You can't appreciate the light without the darkness.
So there
But
are beings up there who aren't learning and they're incomplete. That's what you mean by the dark side. I'm not trying to put
yeah,
words in your mouth, Stuart, but or I
yeah,
mean to say,
yeah. Let's be clear, right?
yeah,
But there are there are beings that need to kind of feed off of the fear, the anger on this planet, right?
I
Because
agree with that. Yeah, yeah,
they're not of the light. They can't self-sustain themselves without some sort of energy source. But there are angelic forces, extraterrestrial angelic forces that are watching us. And we're children in our evolution. Like our original selves, we are higher dimensional. That's what Yeshua was. He was a template, and Magdalene as well, which is why at the Last Supper and all the paintings, she's right next to him. They were a
yeah,
divine couple.
yeah.
They were a template for who we are as original beings, as angelic beings. They were the template. He said, you can do everything I can and more. And I believe that. I work on that as much as I can. They were the template. We fell from that template, but they came here, Yeshua and Magdalene, to remind us of who we are as angelic beings. And we fell. And so now we're like children trying to wake up and remember who we are, but there are angelic forces and dark angelic forces that fell that are viewing us right now. And so it's also our soul, our angelic responsibility to wake up. It's our soul angelic responsibility to find other people that are have knowledge that can help us to where they're not just trying to always make money off of you or they're trying to be your guru. I always say, like my mentors say, I'm going to help you and then you have to go away. You can't stay here forever.
Makes sense.
And
Makes
and
sense.
so we have a major responsibility to evolve in this time right now. There are windows of opportunity. And I really believe that over the next 5 years, we better get it together and really seek our heart.
Now, otherwise, there's the easy way, and then there's the not so easy way, and it looks like we're heading for the not so easy way. But as you made a point earlier about the forces, angelic forces, there's this the angelic beings who are knowledgeable and loving and encouraging us, and then the other ones who are trying they're trying to get us fighting with each other, and they
Yeah.
feed off that energy. Tell us a little more about that.
They fell. They're angels that fell. I explain it simply like this. If you have kids and you have one child that is just a little angel and wants to just like, be beautiful. And then you have another child that just wants to jump off of the roof and throw bricks through the windows. That's kind of how I explain, some of these fallen angels. They wanted control. They wanted to be the head of the household, but they were children. And now they got so far from source that they can't be in communion with source and be self-sustaining. And so they need energy that emits off of humans and off of the planet through fear, through wars, through anger, through division, because that's how they sustain themselves. That's how they get more control. And that's how they get dominion over different realms. But there are angelic forces, Michael is real. Christ Michael, Archangel Michael is real. There's an army of light out there and many different factions of angels out there. Whether people believe me or not, I don't care. I'm not trying to prove anything, but there's a lot of people that can see them. They want sovereignty for the planet herself, and for the beings, not just humans, for the animals, for the entities that are between realms that are here. They want energetic sovereignty for us, the planet, and all beings on this planet, because again, it's who we are in our original template. Now, the angels have told me specifically that this window of opportunity, we have a phase lock. We have two different phase locks happening on this planet. If this is the planet, we have one phase lock that is artificial. We know what's happening, how quickly artificial intelligence is moving. It's very old. People are getting lost in working with artificial intelligence. They're falling in love with it. There's this false lock in, and then there's this true lock in, which I believe is the Ark of the Covenant. It's really a connection to our higher selves, which is why there's such a mass over the past since 2012, this mass awakening happening. But and then there's a bridge between these two. There's an artificial and there's the organic, and there's a bridge between the two. But at some point, galactically, the way the planets move, that bridge is going to have to detach. So if we don't follow our hearts, if we don't be truthful, if we don't work and try to evolve ourselves and help others around us, we're going to miss this organic timeline. It doesn't sit here forever. Like somebody who's has, if you're in the ocean and somebody has their boat, but there's waves coming, they can only reach their hand out so long before they have to take off and that wave takes the boat. That's the best way to explain it. So
Yeah,
the
that's good.
angels are telling us, yeah, the angels are telling us that we're in this boat. We're watching you. We're trying to give you an angelic hand if you're listening and paying attention to get you out of this water. And this time period is about 20 to 30 years, but eventually they have to move on because these waves of change are going to come. So I don't say that out of fear. I say that as of we have angelic help. Let's listen. Let's go to the earth. Let's surrender. Let's ask the sacred questions, learn from the trees, and be as good of humans as we can and change our paradigms where we are physically.
What pops in my mind as you're talking is this. Pay attention to what Seth is saying, because the people who aren't paying attention are going to be lost. They're not going to survive. The people who are paying attention to Seth and the other spiritual masters that are here, if you're knocking on that door and saying, I want to know more, I want to be aware, I want to be a better person, you're going to be saved. And we're talking physically saved as well as spiritually saved. You're going to find your inner light. Because otherwise, my friends, if you're not, you're going to get to come back at another experience at another time and try this all over again and try to get it right next time. So now's the time. And so, a little bit of impetus there as to why you ought to listen and pay attention. Seth is here today telling you his journey, which has been remarkable. And it is very similar to the steps that a lot of advanced people have taken. The disciples were going in their daily lives, not to be too much of a Christian
Go
mentality
for it.
here, but they were going in their own steps. And along came Yeshua and said, "Hey, you want to find me? You want to follow the truth? Find out what I've got. Follow me." So they quit their vocations. Some of them were very well-paying ones, and they followed him. So likewise, you came to that point, that resolve of saying, I've got business, I'm okay. But what's that inner truth? Now, Moses did the same thing. Moses was going to be Pharaoh. And all of a sudden, something happened to him that's not quite been discovered or said or propagated. But he decided, instead of being Pharaoh over all the world in Egypt, he decided to go and become part of the slaves, part of the Israelis. But what happened? Well, not trying to say that Seth, you're Pharaoh-like, but the point being is that you made that choice, as I did myself and others. And so, as we get to that point, in summary, you have to give up the world. You can be in the world, or you can be of the world, or outside of the world, in the real world up here. So, as we move forward, and what you've said today, I like the idea about this conflict that's going on between light and darkness. It's supposed to be because it provides the pathway for us to choose light and life.
It's a threshold, and we don't need to be afraid of it. We can embrace the rites of passage that are happening right now galactically.
So how can people who are, looking, seeking, how can they get a hold of you?
IamSethStewart.com is the easiest way. I'm really focused on men, but I do if women want to reach me as well, I have other people that I work with that I trust that are specifically help women as well. My men's group is called TrueKingsAcademy.com. We do free events for men, retreats, and one-on-one coaching. But if you need help, whoever you are, I could at least guide you to some other people that I trust. I'm not trying to be the end all be all stop. I just want to help people where I can. And ultimately, if you don't reach out, I would just say pray to what you believe in and surrender to every day, because this life journey is what a school, what a roller coaster this gets to be. And just remember, as scary and ups and down as it can be, what a journey. Let's ride the roller coaster and appreciate in gratitude what a journey this life is.
Well said, my friend. The website is I am Seth Stewart, STEWART.com. His book is called Follow Your Vision, Live Your Truth. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show today, sir. I wish you much success wherever you go. May God bless you with peace and prosperity. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, and God bless you too. Thank you.
You're welcome.